Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I'm your boy Quattro,
I'm Diesel.
and we have some exciting topics today, so let's dive in. Today we'll be talking about, does anticipation drive dopamine? Exploring the anticipation theory. We'll be discussing why does most Americans feel broke and examining the language of poverty. And thirdly, we'll talk about partner or parasite. Which relationship paradigm works for you? Let's dive in. Does anticipation drive dopamine? Dopamine is often called the pleasure chemical, but its real role is more about motivation and anticipation rather than actual pleasure. Neuroscience research has shown that dopamine spikes before we achieve a goal or receive a reward, making us more driven to chase experiences. In this segment, we'll discuss how dopamine anticipation shapes motivation, habits, and even addiction, and how understanding this can help you take control of your drive and desires. Let's dive in.
Man, interesting stuff right there.
That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. When I seen those topics for this week, I was like, whew. I gotta put my thinking cap on this week.
I mean, that's the goal. That's what we want to do. We're going to create some ripples. Get the positive impact, the negative impact, and then figure out what we can do to understand both sides of the story, so we can find a resolve to move forward.
Right.
So again, dopamine. This in light of kind of like our pattern, or kind of like our help series on just these chemicals or these feelings and these emotions that we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed cortisol. We discussed serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed stress.
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed we did those things, and now we're discussing dopamine.
Dopamine.
And the reason why this one is important is because, again, as we'll discuss, it's important for us to understand that when we are feeling that feeling of butterflies, or it feels good, or that good feeling, like that's just dopamine. So when we are feeling these things, it's just us understanding that that's what's happening.
Yeah, what I found interesting about looking into the whole dopamine science and effect on the body, it was like dopamine is released in a lot of instances that we don't even realize.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're anticipating something, dopamine is released, and then a lot of times we confuse that or mislabel that dopamine hit as sometimes confirmation or the feeling that's that confirms we're going in the right direction, or
this is the right person.
This is the right like when
I got that feeling.
Yeah, I got I got knots in my stomach or whatever. But a lot of times, come to find out, that's dopamine, releasing in a chemical reaction in the brain, because it says through anticipation. So anytime you anticipate a reward, a goal, or your favorite food, or being around your favorite person, or going to your favorite place, or
so it's like reward management in a sense.
Yes,
but we have to be conscious of that in regards to managing that thing we call dopamine.
Yeah, very much so. And also it also can work in the opposite regard, with dopamine, where it could make you drive for something or not.
Yeah, motivation, right?
Motivate or not drive for something, or whatever the case may be. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say before we kind of get a little too deep, pause into this topic. I wanted to let's as always, let's get a definition.
Yeah, we didn't go to our facts.
Let's get a definition first before we proceed.
This is dopamine, a fun molecule that you've probably heard of. Now, people always talk about wanting hits of dopamine, but that's not actually how it works. So dopamine is a molecule that motivates us to get things or to avoid things. But we all have a baseline level which travels around our body in our nervous system all the time. So when you achieve something or satisfy a desire, like eat chocolate or have sex or get 100 likes on Instagram, you experience a peak in dopamine, which feels good. But afterwards, you can then experience a temporary dip below the previous baseline, which is why sometimes after achieving something you really wanted, you actually feel a little bit worse. And you also have a readily releasable pool of dopamine, which your body taps into to create these peaks. But if you try and get these peaks too often, like going on Instagram too frequently, then the pool of dopamine doesn't have time to refill. So the peaks aren't as high as they were before, and Instagram no longer makes you feel as good. But the good news is that you can consciously improve your dopamine levels over time by not fixating on rewards and outcomes.
Yo, that was deep, because what I just realized with dopamine, and as it relates to anticipation, you can anticipate. This makes so much sense. A lot of things,
I had a revelation too.
Why things don't work out, because even like with relationships, or even when you anticipate to get the shoes that you always wanted, and they just don't quite fit right. Like the dopamine sets the bar here with anticipation, and then you're anticipating, and you want them shoes, you want that steak, you want that girl, you want that job, and the bar is here, and then when you actually get it, it's not what you anticipated. So therefore, that dopamine level, it drops.
Yeah.
And then that's when I guess the feelings of
regret, buyer's remorse, exactly.
All that come in, disappointed. You don't like it, you over it, like ugh.
But then in reality, it's actually not buyer's remorse. It's just our dopamine levels come down.
That's all it is.
That's all that happened,
because the anticipation
is gone.
Phase is over.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You done got it, or whatever the case may be. And that works with social media.
Yeah.
Sometimes you anticipate. You anticipate to see who liked your post. You anticipate to see if that girl commented. You anticipated to see if that influencer shared your post, or whatever the case may be.
If that guy viewed your story.
Right. And when they don't, your dopamine drops. And therefore, that's why you're back to scrolling.
You're feeling depressed, or you're feeling like,
and you back to scrolling to get that dopamine up again. So it's like,
because now that anticipation kicks back.
Now I go back to anticipate. Well, what else do I find? Well, what else would I stumble upon as I do my scrolling? That's interesting.
That's very interesting, because the revelation I had was going back to just relationships in the past. To your point, because I remember I would always, again, have that reward of like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get this girl. And the anticipation of doing, so that's kind of like also too where that fog thinking comes in, where it's just like you're doing whatever it takes to make whatever reward you're trying to go after happen, in this case a woman. And then you get it, and then afterwards you just kind of like I said, once you got the reward that you was going after, quote unquote, now like again, you come down and you start to quote unquote see the world a lot more clearly, and you're just like, oh man, like yeah, I mean it was fun, but I don't think this is gonna be, because now I realize that we're not in alignment, you know what I'm saying, or we might or she might just be she might not be what I thought she was, or he might not be who she. So now it's not necessarily us thinking that they're not the one. It was just like, nah, our dopamine level then came down, and now we can see clearly.
And I just realized as well, anticipation feeds your fantasy. And that's why the dopamine is so high. The anticipation feeds the best case scenario in your mind, in your world, in your perspective. And so that's why when you achieve said goal, that's that deflation of dopamine, because now you're dealing with reality. And then
exactly, it wasn't what you anticipated. That fantasy,
your fantasy world. Oh, when I get with her, it's gonna be oh, we're gonna have 3 kids and get a dog and have a picket fence, and then you get her and she she's slapping you and cussing you out every 5 minutes. Like it's not.
But even with the ladies, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the 6'6", oh, he's 6 feet. He's 6-pack. He earns 6 figures. But then you see that he got, a 6th sense call going up the side of your head. You know what I'm saying?
Or 6 other women.
Or 6 other women. You feel me? And now it's a problem. But again, the reality disrupted your fantasy.
Right.
Which made your dopamine level come down. Because again, everything is all fun and games when the dopamine levels is high and you're getting what you want. But the minute you don't get what you want, that dopamine come down, now you start seeing things a little bit more clarity. I mean, a little bit more clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and now you got problems. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now you're trying to negotiate.
Right, right. I didn't even realize that when we were, doing our research and all that and getting
I didn't
everything
realize.
together.
Right.
But and I was trying to figure out what's the the correlation and like what is the what's the nugget here? What is the gem we're dropping on them? And I was
Right.
like, you know what? And it just dropped on me just now while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a doctor that has something to say about dopamine too
Yeah.
and the
Yeah. Let's
effects
see
of
what he
it.
got to say.
And let's check this out.
Talk about dopamine. Dopamine is so important. It is called the molecule of more because it makes you pay attention. People think of dopamine and happiness and pleasure, and sometimes that's true. But I want you to think of it more as motivation. What am I paying attention to, and what does it drive me to do? It is one of the primary neurotransmitters of addiction.
There you have it. The doctor told you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, dopamine is the molecule of more.
Molecule of more.
And it
Right.
has connections to addiction as well, which is a whole nother psychological ramification, which can help us understand why we're addicted to things that we're addicted to. Because if dopamine is the molecule of more, you want more. You're enticed, you're intrigued. It's like I gotta get it, I gotta get it, I gotta get it. That kind of translates to addiction. Because you want that high, you want that feeling, you want that escape, you want
Mm-hmm.
that moment of release or peace, or
Right.
you want more. You
More.
want more as it relates to social media. That dopamine hit. I want more. I need more of
I
that
need more of that dopamine.
gratification.
Right.
I
Right.
need
Right.
more.
Right.
I need more of it. I need more of it. So it could be a motivation, and it has its place as motivation
Mm-hmm.
because like if you're motivated to uh to get your doctorate
Right.
degree, that dopamine will set in
Mm-hmm.
that case as well. And you do what you got to do. I got to do my thesis, my dissertation. Like
Right.
you on your you drive. You like I got to get this done because I want this doctor before my name or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be. And so it works in that instance as well. And dopamine is very powerful.
Him saying the molecule of more, where it took my mind, it made me start thinking that are we obsessed with dopamine? Can some of us be obsessed? And what I mean by that is, quite often we'll say, men or women, they're doing this for attention. But now that we're talking about dopamine, he's talking about the molecule of more. Like, is what we think attention really just their obsession with dopamine? Their obsession with trying to, like you said, constantly get that hit. So that's why. So it's like we think we're doing it, or we say they're doing these things for attention, but is it really that they're just had that they're just addicted to and obsessed with dopamine to the point where they just always are doing these things to be in the center of attention, but that center of attention is, to your point, giving them that gratification of having all eyes on them, which makes them get that dopamine hit.
Yeah, and I don't think people are obsessed with dopamine. I just think that's just a reaction of dopamine. And I
Oh,
think
obsession is a reaction of dopamine.
no, the obsession is the reaction of dopamine. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that they're obsessed with dopamine. That's just a reaction of dopamine because you can't control that.
Mhm.
There's no button that we could say release dopamine now, or I could take a dopamine pill. I mean, they have things
I
that
probably
make you
do.
feel right. But
Or maybe that's what drugs are. Or maybe that's where because that's why I'm saying, like, going back to now, since he talked about the molecule of more, so addiction. So when someone is doing drugs, yeah, they're doing drugs to get high, but when we're saying high, that feeling is, again, we're in a sense saying that feeling of high is just an extreme dosage of dopamine. So are they addicted to the drug, or are they obsessed and addicted to just the feeling of being in a constant state of like dopamine? You know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of like getting at.
Mhm.
Because that's when he was saying, again, molecule of more, it had me thinking back to that Joe Budden clip, where they were talking about the Adam and Eve, whatever, listening to a comedian
Yeah,
talk about
I
Adam
wish
and
we
Eve.
had that
Yeah.
because
And And then they asked him basically saying what he said about this, like, Adam and Eve had it all good and dandy. And then Adam looks at Eve and says, it's like, like, look, we can basically live the best life ever and never die. And she says, but I still like, still feels like there could be more.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. That's what she said. It's still not enough. And then Melissa Ford, she basically proves the man's point in real time.
Everybody got the joke.
Right.
Everybody laughed. All the men got the joke.
Except for her.
And she's sitting there like.
Then he's just like, Mel, you didn't think that was funny?
You didn't think that was funny at all?
I'm still waiting for more.
I was just looking for more.
And it's just like, you just prove. So, but again, that looking for more.
That's a twofer. That was 2 jokes.
You know what I'm saying? Right. 2 for 1, right. But that looking for more that we think makes women oblivious or absent-minded, or is it just that they are just constantly looking for, like you said, that dopamine, like you said, that molecule of more?
Or is dopamine released more regularly in their brain
than ours, right?
Right. Or are there more triggers for dopamine for the female brain
to be released, right? The way that based upon how they're wired and we're wired, right?
Right.
Because we always say
that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? But men and women are wired differently, so is that a factor in that, the difference in that wiring, to where they just a little bit more sensitive to dopamine than men, which is why as men we think that they're doing everything they're doing for attention or for whatever, but it's just because, again, a lot of times when we do listen to the ladies, they'll say they're doing this, I want them to feel better. But that we now know that feeling better is the molecule of more dopamine.
Yeah.
So like you said, like maybe, if you're doctors, let us know. If you feel me, if y'all peeping, let us know what y'all thoughts are in the comments.
Yeah, well, where's the neuroscientists out there?
Are we off base? Are we on base? Like, let us know.
We on to something? We don't know. We're not claiming
just having
to
a
be
discussion
doctors.
about the topic, right?
We're just talking. We're just talking. There's another video we want to show you too, and get your reaction on. Let's check it out.
So this guy was struggling in a major way. So about 3 months ago, he was watching a lot of videos online. He was texting a lot. He was mainly playing video games. He wasn't really enjoying them as much anymore. And he decided to do what some people call a dopamine fast, but for him that meant no video games, and he did 2 weeks of no screens. So a little less than 3 months later, I actually talked to his parent today, working full time, off all ADHD meds, has a girlfriend. I don't know if that's related or not, probably because he's got his life together a little bit more. He's very focused on his work. He's excited by things, and he allows himself a short period of time each day where he plays video games, and he enjoys them again like never before.
Man, that was pretty good. That dopamine fast part was interesting because kind of like going back to what we've been talking to, us now being conscious that when we do get this reward that we've been anticipating, and we come off that dopamine high and we're quote unquote crashing, and we think that we're feeling depressed or this ain't the one, or like, oh, I felt this way yesterday, but now so us understanding that now and now incorporating a dopamine fast where we now understand, like I said, why people be like, oh, I got to take a break, or I need to just take some time away. So when we are now hearing these things from people, us just being a little bit more understanding, and that, okay, well, maybe they're unconsciously doing a dopamine fast, what I'm saying? So let me just let my homie chill, and then we'll reconvene when they're better.
And I found out that, well, not found out, but listening to the video and the guy's example, the young man took a break from social media, from video games, screen time, from video games, and found himself being more productive.
Yes.
In a lot of other areas, which tells me that this whole dopamine hit is crippling, and it's very addictive, especially with social media. How many of us can scroll on our phones for hours? I mean,
I'm
hours.
guilty of it.
I lay in the bed. I don't go to sleep for another. Once I get in the bed, I'm up for another 3. I don't even want to say. I'm up for another 3 to 4 hours, like
aimlessly scrolling.
Like, oh shit! It's like I gotta make myself like I have to disconnect. And then thing I noticed, like when like if you stay up all night scrolling on your phone, like your brain stays active.
Yeah.
And I could recall many days waking up the next day, and I feel like my brain is like still, when I wake up, like my brain is like
still like you left the motor on.
Yeah, like I left it fucking running.
Yeah.
And it's like, God damn, I'm like, oh, I need to like, sometimes I had to like shut all the blinds and everything, and then like go back to sleep for like another hour just to make sure I shut it down, so I can go and just start the day.
So things like having a night routine matter,
Yeah.
where again we are purposely minimizing, ideally eliminating, quote unquote screen time once we get into bed. Like, so we have, but again, these are things we have to be conscious of and then discipline ourselves too. So it's like when I get into bed, the phone is on the charger. So that might mean now we have to put the phone on the charger on the other side of the room. You feel me?
Yeah, you got to be proactive.
Got to be proactive. And because that's one of the things that I've learned and I've been doing as of late, as I've been more conscious of my dopamine addiction to social media. You've always pointed that out to me. But again, it's like now at night, what I do is I'll put the phone on the charger, but I'll put it on the other side of the room. So it's like I can't even be in the bed. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the phone, as opposed to it being on my nightstand and it's right there. And then I done also made it more convenient by going to get the long charger cable so I can roll over and get comfortable in my spot and still be on the phone. And to your point, I told myself I was about to get into bed and go to sleep, but then just the whole SpongeBob thing. A few hours later, you know what I'm saying?
He's still there.
up.
He's still there.
Like you said, mine's still on. And to your point, waking up in the morning feeling like I left the motor running. You know what I mean? And so I can definitely relate to that.
Oh, well, thank you for giving me the credit of pointing that out for you. To be fair, the point I was pointing out to you was how you'll be on your phone in the middle of a conversation. Like it'll be I wasn't really talking about the aimless.
But remember,
scrolling.
but I'm saying, but remember what the doctor said though. Like dopamine lets us know what we pay attention to.
Yeah.
So again, to your point,
and what we're not paying attention to.
So again, to your point, yeah, we all having a conversation, but I'm paying attention to the phone, which means that I'm getting more of a dopamine hit from paying attention to this phone than the conversation that I'm in. So, so like I said, to your point, now we understand that it's not necessarily me being, it's not necessarily a distraction or me not taking it seriously. It's just more so like, bro, like put the dopamine down, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like put the drugs down, bro.
Put the needle down.
Yeah, put the needle down, Diesel. You know what I'm saying?
Diesel.
Put the phone down. The same way you would tell the heroin addict, or put the needle down, or the dude who sniffs heroin or coke, put the dollar bill. It's just put the phone down. Because that phone because again, at that moment in time, I am addicted or obsessed with dopamine.
Because you can't compete with that.
Yeah. Right.
Nobody outside can compete with
and it's obvious because again, as you said, it's 6 of us having a conversation and y'all all talking, but
you're like, dude.
Diesel. What's up?
No, he tried to act like he's following the conversation. That's the funny part. He tries to act like he could do both and follow the conversation. You'd be like, this the third. Now he might say, hey, yo. Not realizing we done called you twice before the time you answered.
Yeah. Even I'm not perfect.
No, we all do it. I mean, we all at it.
You feel me?
I'm just.
But it's being conscious of them though, and that's what people don't want to even acknowledge. So it's like I can acknowledge that. Yes, like I have an addiction to aimlessly scrolling or just scrolling through these digital streets.
See what with me the difference is I get to scrolling aimlessly and, when I'm by myself, you know what I mean? Because I love being I love being around people. I love being in encounters and conversations, and I love groups and, having someone around. Like, so when I'm around people, like I'm not the one that's at dinner scrolling on the phone. I'm not the one at the, out with friends and I'm just on the phone, like, cause I'm trying to engage with the people that I'm with. I love being around people, but oh boy, when I get home and I'm by myself, that's all I got.
That phone is your crowd.
That's my lick. But yeah, so I guess the point we're making is just to be aware of the effects of dopamine and how it can shape and guide our drives, behaviors, right? Our desires, our behaviors, our habits, our proclivities. I
think we got one more video that's kind of actually talking about that.
Oh, okay. Let's check it out.
Turns out most people spend 70% of their life living in survival and living in stress. So they're always anticipating the worst case scenario based on a past experience. And they're literally out of the infinite potentials in the quantum field, they're selecting the worst possible outcome, and they're beginning to emotionally embrace it with fear, and they're conditioning their body into a state of fear. Do that enough times, body has a panic attack without you. You can't even predict it because it's programmed subconsciously. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, get ready, because it's going to feel uncomfortable.
That was interesting because it gives the whole flip side to it, because it's still talking about anticipation. And so, dealing with people, sometimes we do anticipate the worst.
Yes.
We don't always, as we were saying prior, speaking about anticipating something that we want or like.
We anticipate what we don't want.
Sometimes we anticipate the worst, like what if this doesn't happen, or what if this, or what if there's a big earthquake, and then when that has an effect on us as well. Is dopamine released?
Well, that's what I have to just say, like, because it sounds like what he just said. When we anticipate the best, we release dopamine, but when we anticipate the worst, we release stress or cortisol.
Oh, the cortisol.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was trying to listen in to see, like, is he saying dopamine is released in those instances as well? But I don't think he said. He
said stress. Yeah. So stress, that we know that molecule is cortisol.
Right.
So but again, the common denominator between the two now being anticipation.
Anticipation.
So how we manage anticipation will determine if dopamine is released or if stress is released, but also too, whichever one it is, we still got to manage both.
Yeah, and they both have a direct effect on our body.
Yep.
And
from a psychological and physiological perspective,
yes,
right?
Very much so.
Yep.
Very so. Being aware of it is just just advantageous to us as human beings.
Yep.
So, anything else you want to share on this topic?
Just keep your dopamine in check.
Check that dope.
Dopamine in check. Yeah, keep
Put
that
dope down.
Facts.
Get off the dope.
Say no to dope.
Down with dope, up with hope. Ain't that what Jesse Jackson said?
Yeah. Facts.
Something like that. Our next topic: why do most Americans feel broke? Despite record-breaking economic growth and rising wages, most Americans still feel broke. Why? Because the cost of living continues to rise, financial pressure increase, and wages often fail to keep up. But there's another hidden factor: the language of poverty that shapes our financial mindset. The words we use around money can reinforce financial stress. Constantly saying "I'm broke" can rewire your brain to expect scarcity, while reframing your perspective can shift your financial habits. This segment breaks down the economic and psychological reasons why most Americans feel financially stuck and explores strategies to break out of that cycle, both mentally and practically. Let's dive into this topic. Why do most Americans feel broke?
Man.
Do you feel broke?
I don't feel broke personally because I operate off of the dictionary version of it. However, I do respect Brother Dave Ramsey's definition of broke. So according to his definition, I would be broke, which I do respect. But as far as how I feel, I don't feel broke because I'm not penniless. But I do know that I can be doing a lot better financially.
I think we all can, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's always room for
unless
for
you're Elon Musk or Bezos.
But even them is from what I'm seeing, them is the guys that never think that they're enough is not enough is enough, but that they can do better. You know what I mean? Because they're always trying to do something different, some new idea, buy some new business, vertically integrate. But then that's the job of a capitalist at the end of the day, working above the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back down to more of a practical citizen level. What inspired this topic was just kind of like, again, scrolling through them digital streets and actually came across the video. And actually, let's show that video right now real quick, just so we can set the stage for what we're going to be discussing.
Huh? Say what you said again. Because we're going to get all this on tape. Say what you said.
If we were married, you got this amazing credit score, right?
800.
Okay. And
this is what poverty does to your brain. Listen to this. Go ahead.
No, we're not doing this. Cut it off.
Now you don't want to talk. You was talking so confidently a minute ago.
How was that? No, because they going to say, oh, that's the girl.
They don't know who you are. You ain't on the camera. So go ahead and say what you was going to say. Say what you just said a minute ago.
Okay, you got this amazing credit score, right?
I got an 800 credit score, and I worked very hard, and my mama helped me get that credit score. She helped me pay my car
now,
payment. I was
say
19.
if your wife wanted to die for a purse, that's $2,000.
There ain't no purse on planet Earth worth dying for, but go ahead. That's $2,000.
You gonna die if you buy me that bad?
No, that's not the point. It ain't no purse on planet Earth that important.
I said to die for. Like it's not something that you would get me like every year. Chuck, get me a purse every year. No, it's something that I'm in love with. Maybe it's Mother's Day coming up. Maybe it's my birthday coming up. Maybe it's Christmas.
Okay.
You can't get that for me?
So you want me to use my 800 credit score to get a purse, to go in debt to buy a purse?
You're going to be in debt. You're going to be in debt if you get that purse.
What was the point of bringing up my credit score?
Because you can go and swipe for it.
Right. So that's what poverty does to people's brains. Mm-hmm. Right? You want me to, if I don't have $2,000 in my bank account, why would I go and buy a $2,000 object on a credit card? That's what most people in America do. That's why most people in America is poor. This right here.
That's funny.
Yes.
That was funny to me because it's like
the language of poverty, like you said, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I've noticed that when people don't get what they want or that dopamine hit because they didn't get that gift for that, again, they're anticipating this reward, this purse, this car, this trip, this Cash App, whatever it is.
In that case, the purse, right?
Mm-hmm. And so again, it's just, since now they're in this anticipation, it's cloud night thinking. It's just foggy, they operate in the fog now. So because the biggest thing I took away from that video was the fact that she didn't associate with him having credit and swiping with it turning into debt.
No, she didn't.
It's like she didn't, like those dots wasn't connected in her mind.
Not at all.
In her mind, she thought that just because he had an 800 credit score and he loved her, or that they was married, that he has the ability to go get her what she wants when she wants it.
Right.
And if he doesn't want to do it, then now he's broke or he's whatever. She didn't say that per se, but that's what we've heard in other cases. But no, ma'am, it's not a matter of him being broke, him being stingy, him not being generous. And as he said, it's about him being smart with money. If I don't have $2,000 in cash in my bank account, that means I do not have the money to afford this $2,000 purse. It doesn't matter if I have an 800 credit score and a credit card to swipe. That doesn't, because again, if we are using our credit correctly,
right, that part,
then whatever we charge up on that card per month is to be paid off that month. So if we run up 2 bands on a card, then we need to put 2 bands in payments on that card to avoid the interest payment.
Exactly.
But again, most of us think that, and I've been guilty of this myself. I'll just pay the minimum payment and all will be well. But it's just like, no, like now that $2,000 item, is going at 30%. I think we calculated it was going to be the $2,000 item was now is $2,600 or $3,400. It was one of them 2 numbers. I can't think off remember, but it's just more than the $2,000 that you thought that you paid for this item that she probably don't even care about no more and probably done sold at the Goodwill.
Right. And he like that point that he brought up. If you don't have the money in your account, that doesn't necessarily mean, well, let me rephrase. If you don't have the money coming in that month, to cover, because you might not have the money, that's the benefit of the credit card, because I might not have it right here on Tuesday, but I know in
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks I'll have it, so I can get it now, and then when my money coming in 2 weeks, I go ahead and pay that off. That's how I kind of try to operate my credit cards. Because sometimes it's easy to just go ahead and swipe,
just make the minimum payment,
and you deal with it, whatever. But like if you don't have it, you shouldn't be swiping it. Or if it can be recouped in that month, you probably should refrain from purchasing it.
Avoid at all costs.
I think so.
So going back to the ultimate topic, why do Americans feel broke? Well, part of the reason why they feel broke is because they, again, might not necessarily have the cash or credit to fulfill their immediate gratification of this reward that they want. And if they can't go to some man or some parent or some woman to go get the money or the credit to get it, then now they're feeling broke because I wasn't able to get the reward I wanted.
I think they feel broke because I like to bring it back to the topics. They feel broke because they trapped in this anticipation dopamine hit
Cycle, right?
cycle, and then they feel broke because when they acquire said thing or don't acquire it,
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're broke because let's use social media. You constantly seeing people
Mm-hmm.
projecting this lavish lifestyle,
This luxury lifestyle,
this
right,
luxury
right,
lifestyle,
right.
and you constantly seeing it, driving up your anticipation, driving up your dopamine, like oh yeah,
When I get that new G wagon, everyone be turning heads. Everybody goes, such as Lil Tay Tay will be on me.
So when you take a break from that and look at your reality,
Mm-hmm.
and you see. You see where I'm going?
I'm picking on what you're putting down.
Then you see your reality. You see the Toyota Camry that you're driving.
Right. Instead of that G-Wagon.
After seeing a bunch of G-Wagons, Bugattis, whatever the case may be. When you see a bunch of, model bad bitches, yada, 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 then you look at, the little shorty you got, when you constantly seeing people with Louis Vuitton, MCM, whatever the case may be.
Or for the ladies, they go to the 6 foot and over page, and then they looking at the
the
big pudgy guys.
Right. You constantly seeing, the Versace, Van Cleef, all that stuff, and then you look at your closet and don't.
Oshkosh Bagosh.
Even that costs money.
Oh, that the Oshkosh is good. I mean, considered a luxury item now.
I mean, not luxury, but it's good for like.
It's pricey.
Yeah, it's
I remember Oshkosh Bagosh was like.
Yeah. So when you get to the reality, your reality, that's why you feel broke.
Mm-hmm.
Because you constantly inputting images of luxury, lavish lifestyle, brands, labels. You constantly seeing that, on social media. And I'm using social media because that's the thing that kind of, that's the common denominator for all of us as we, go through life nowadays in 2025. It's social media. And so, that's why you have to take a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to, like he said, chill on the screen time.
Yep.
Because it's diluting your thinking, is diluting your perception, and is making you hate your reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, when you hate your own reality, that's when you have these remorseful feelings, these feelings of regret, these feelings of low self-esteem. Feelings of being broke.
Yep.
And you feel less than. And you got to understand that there's a system going on. There's a cycle going on working. Not necessarily in your favor when you're constantly in this mode or cycle of anticipation and dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the reason why a lot of people feel broke.
Yep, I would agree with you on that one 100%. It's just, again, going back to dopamine management as well as stress management, because like we talked about during the stress episode, when we are scrolling through the digital streets and we are comparing ourselves to what we're seeing on these screens, which in 9 times out of 10 is a facade in and of itself, we do find ourselves creating stress or releasing cortisol instead of the dopamine. So now we stressing ourselves out. We winding ourselves up, getting upset, getting angry, like you said, easily irritable, aggressive, abrasive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all because we
anticipating
the worst now, because it's just like, well, damn, this is what I want. I want this luxury life, or well, I want whatever I want. But then I see what I have, and I don't really see a clear path to getting what I want. So now I'm getting upset and angry, and I'm feeling stressed out because I don't see a clear path ahead, and I'm worried that I might not get that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I deserve it, so damn, I must be broke.
Which is crazy,
right?
Which is crazy. Broke is relative, right?
Exactly.
And happy. I realize a lot of things is relative. Happiness, financial freedom, wealth.
Yep.
being prosperous. Like all that is relative to the individual.
I'm glad you said that R word though, relative, because to your point, there are some people who don't feel broke, even though they getting all the assistance in the world. They feel rich enough to where they you know what? Let's just play the video real quick.
Got a DHS letter in the mail this morning, and I just now opened it. And somebody reported me to the state of Michigan because I'm making money on TikTok, and I drive a 2024 BMW. They have cut my food stamps from almost $4,000 a month down to $88 a month. They are telling me if I want a review that I have to sell my car. So you're telling me if you were on welfare, food stamps, cash assistance, Section 8, you can't drive a nice car? They are forcing me to sell my brand new BMW, or I lose almost $4,000 in food stamps. Not only that, they have taken my cash assistance totally away. They are telling me that Section 8 will no longer be paying 95% of my rent, only 10% of my rent. So I will have to pay a little over $400 a month now instead of $60 a month. They cannot.
Wow, it looks like the Doge got you too, boo.
Yo, that video is loaded with so much, like.
That's why I said some people don't feel broke, but I'm guarantee you somebody that felt broke is who reported her.
I mean,
somebody that went to work every day, probably got a regular job, and they looking at her life, comparing, like feeling stressed out, like damn, she's living my life, but I know she on food stamps, I know she on Section 8, I know she getting cash assistance. How is she able to live this life?
And I know, and she got a 2024
brand new
BMW.
She made sure it's brand new.
Oh my God. She said somebody reported me. How about somebody that you stealing money from? Because if you are able to buy a brand new 2024 BMW, there is no way in the world you should be getting $4,000 in food stamps.
No way.
And you getting income from social media,
income assistance, right?
She's making her own money. You're getting money. You getting paid.
Yeah.
So you got you getting paid enough money to buy a brand new BMW. Mm-hmm. So that means the money that's coming in is substantial.
Yes.
It's sustainable, right? Mm-hmm. As long as you keep putting out the content, whatever content you're putting out, you'll keep reaping the benefits of that.
Right.
Then she says they will no longer pay 95% of my rent. Like, bitch, what? They only gonna pay 10. They shouldn't be paying nothing.
Right.
And I bet the person that reported you is a person that's paying
100% of their rent.
The difference. No, they're paying because it comes from taxpayer dollars.
Right.
That ain't nothing.
But again, so technically, I guess from my perspective, that'd be doubling up then, because again, she's getting money from the taxpayer to pay for her lifestyle, and she's making money from TikTok to pay for her lifestyle. But then the taxpayer is also having to pay 100% of their lifestyle. So her lifestyle is being subsidized by people who don't get no subsidies, while she's still making money and to the point where she can afford to buy a brand new 2024
making more than
BMW.
That person that's paying the taxes.
Yes.
And giving to.
Man, Dr. Phil actually did a video about that. I didn't find it, but he actually did a point about that where he was talking about how it's almost better to be on government assistance because you can make more than if you had a regular full-time job.
Yes, but I mean, if they pay 95% of your rent, most of our expenses
is rent.
Is our rent,
yeah.
and food.
Mm-hmm.
That's what most of the average American working citizen money goes.
So if you was getting 95% of your housing and food subsidized, then to the point again, she's spending $4,000 a month on food. She says she's going to go from paying $60 in rent to $400 in rent. So her rent was only she's getting $4,000 in food. Her rent is about $500, $600. But again, because she don't gotta pay rent, because she don't have to spend money on food, now all that money that she admitted she's making on TikTok, that's how she's able to afford the lifestyle that the people who are relishing her lifestyle get to live.
It's a crazy dynamic, and then I like at
So
the
she don't
end,
feel broke, but she about to feel broke.
because I looked the girl like this, like Doge got you too, girl, right? Yeah, they need to get her. They need to get her. Like a lot of people, this might be a little tangent, but a lot of people
Nah,
are
she
like,
freeloading.
yeah, definitely freeloading, and everybody else that's an able body that's on these Section 8 programs and vouchers, and keep having kids to get more food stamps. Like you're freeloading,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people are like upset that Trump is looking to minimize the length or the time that you could be on Section 8
The
or whatever.
exploitation of Section 8
it's very
and
it's
welfare.
it's very much being exploited,
Yeah.
and it's not fair, and it's just not right. I think like he said, if you're an able body and you could work, now we're not talking about people that are disabled, handicapped,
Real
senior
afflictions,
citizens,
right?
old or whatever the case may be. Those services are warranted. But if you're an able body and you just like don't want to do shit
But be lazy, sitting on your ass all day
and getting high and playing
and scroll on
games
your digital, right?
and getting your dopamine hit, shooting up dope all day long
On your cell phone,
right? And it's just like, how, Sway? Like, come on, how long do you think? Like, you got your money's worth. If you've been on that for 10 years, you got your money's worth. So when he say I cut it, you was able to work. I mean, you was able to live without paying rent and without buying groceries for 10 fucking years. You got more than your money's worth. Like, so there shouldn't be not a word from these motherfuckers when they say, all right, you got to come up off of that.
Well, that's the scam, as you already know. What they will do is, like you said, these able-bodied Americans that are getting these welfare assistance programs, a lot of them, and like I said, we're not talking about the people who legitimately need it.
No, not at all.
But the ones that are, exploiting the system, I've known people to literally create business entities so that they can say on paper that they don't make them or they get paid, these minimum wage. They collecting cash from all their customers, so they can't show that they make what they actually making, or they can, doctor the books to say they only made what they made. So they can make themselves look poor on paper, quote unquote, or look broke on paper, so that they qualify for all the welfare benefits while they still making money. And so again, it's like doubling up. That's how they're able to, and that's why it's not good to compare yourself to others, as well as again, ever try to think that they're ahead of you, because again, you don't know what they doing to live that lifestyle. You just never know what someone's doing. The whole time, like I said, you quote unquote law-abiding, productive citizen, responsible adult, you out here quote unquote doing it the right way, and you're struggling, you feel broke. But then again, you don't know that this person you're comparing yourself to, again, they just scamming the system, or they selling drugs.
Yeah.
Or they in trafficking, or they doing something else.
Or they straight lying, putting up a facade. I done seen plenty of people stand in front of cars that ain't theirs, and at people's houses that they ain't even been on the inside. They not even invited there. They don't even know whose house it is. But it's like, oh, everything is about the photo op.
Yep.
Everything is about the facade to put that image out there. It's like it's funny, like everyone is like a drug dealer. They putting out the product, the dopamine product.
They
putting it out there for somebody else to come along,
right,
and shoot it up and anticipate and get all high off.
So it's like a double effect in that the person the person posted the content, they get their dopamine hit off of the likes, but then the person consuming the content, they get their dopamine hit off of anticipating the reward of this lifestyle that they think this person that posted is living.
Yep,
it's crazy.
It's very intricate, and it's all connected.
So if you're just conscious of this dynamic, and then that means you will be in a better position to manage it, which means that you will now, be able to kind of have the superpower of being able to see through the fog and using that to your advantage in regards to not necessarily exploiting people's blind spots, but illuminating their potential to the superpower that they have if they just manage their anticipation.
Yeah. Yeah. And then and be realistic, like, understanding that everything that glitter ain't gold.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different for, like, our generation, because we grew up knowing, like, you can't believe everything you see. Like, our grandparents and stuff told us stuff like that. Everything that glitter ain't gold. You can't believe everything you see.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you only got one mouth and
two ears.
And 2 ears.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to, what they say, you're supposed to believe, what they say, believe in none of what you hear and only half of what you see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you got one mouth and 2 ears. You're supposed to listen and observe twice as much as you speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what, we grew up with all those type of what they call proverbs or words of wisdom, sayings, or
isms.
Yeah, isms, right? And that kind of is like embedded in our culture. So therefore,
it was a part of our network of conversations.
Yeah.
And that isn't part of this newer generation's network of conversation, as we see in the videos, whether the man or the woman ain't connecting, swiping credit and swiping a credit card to that accumulating debt, or thinking that you can live off government assistance and welfare and still be able to live a quote unquote, as she said, have nice things. It's just like, yeah, you can have nice things, but you got to go work for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be getting assistance and doubling up by, then, like I said, going and making money on TikTok, but you just using all that money to live this luxury lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's the money you need to be using to pay your rent and to buy your food like everybody else.
Right. and then like we were saying initially at the beginning of the topic, we have to support it with the right language as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have to speak things, like we said in the other episode, like the power of the tongue is
language, right?
And language,
how we use language,
the words is very
powerful.
That's how things are manifested.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're constantly feeling broken, then you saying you broken, I don't got shit. It's hard for me. Like, it's tough. Like, I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're gonna make is $1.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy that you say it like that, because one of the things I've always wondered about, people that be asking for donations is, like, I've seen people that are like, let me get a quarter. And it's just, all right, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Meantime, or I've had people, like I said, I done seen somebody like, oh man, like, let me give him, like, how much money? I only got $5. You know what? I can give him $5.
Mm-hmm.
But then he like, let me get a quarter. And I'm like, I don't got a quarter. And he walk off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not about to chase him down and give him the $5 because he just told me that he only wanted a quarter.
Yeah.
So again, to your point, words, language, it matters. So be mindful of what you're speaking into existence, what you're asking for. We got one more video specifically about that to describe the language of poverty. So let's go ahead and tap into that real quick.
It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. I could always ace myself out. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go. Somebody says, yeah, but I'm looking for safety and security. Fine, then huddle in a corner.
So
that was powerful, Mr. Jim Rohn.
Oh yeah, language is language is what separates the weak from the strong, the winners from the losers, is what I'm picking up.
Yes.
Like he's saying, it's like, oh, you can say all the negative stuff like, oh, what was me? Like, I don't got this and this. It's like, you can't go through life operating like that. You just gotta go and go forward and go do it. Like he said, it's risky.
It's all risky.
It's all risky. Everything is risk. Is risk taking risk, and is risk not taking risk.
Yep, it's all risky.
And I think I'd rather take the risk of taking a risk, then the risk. What did he say? He said it costs if you take a risk, but wait till you get the bill for not taking a risk. Like, yeah, that comes with doubt, regret. I shoulda, I coulda, why didn't I?
Comparing
yourself,
All
whatever the
that.
case would be. Like, you gotta take the risk, and I can speak from that. Like, when I moved to California, I bought a one-way ticket to California, and I had a carry-on bag. That's all I had. And March 1st, I've been here a few years.
Big risk, man. So that's like I said, that's a big risk that a lot of people aren't willing to take. And but the flip side of that is realizing really what he talked about in regards to you got to do it. You know what I mean? You got to take the risk. And when it comes to feeling broke, part of working yourself out of that feeling is start taking risk. You're gonna have to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. So you're gonna have to stop prioritizing comfort and start prioritizing growth.
And you know what happened with Crippled Our Community? We have allowed people that don't want to take risks the ability to be comfortable and not taking risks, i.e. welfare, Section 8.
Right.
Those a lot of people, when you think about it, that's scared of taking the risk. They scared of going out there and getting it on their own.
And the basic risk of just, in most cases, just having a quote unquote regular job.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
they're
scared of that.
They're scared of taking the risk of, because we have a lot. Because when the guy said, if you don't want to take a risk, go in a corner somewhere and huddle in the ball. But I want to add on to that. If you want to go in a corner somewhere, it ain't up to us to make it comfortable for you in that corner.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you go in that corner if you want, but that don't mean you go in that corner and you over there getting food stamps, cash assistance,
because you feel broke.
Section 8 because you feel broke or you intimidated about life.
Yeah.
Or scared or lazy, just point blank lazy.
Because actually, as you say that's really so like because again, brokenness ain't just for for the people on welfare. There's plenty of people that got fully able human beings, but to your point, they just lazy, and they lazy and they scared to take the risk.
Some smart people,
a lot of smart people, but a lot of talented, a lot of skill, a lot of smart, but again, they're afraid to take that risk. That's why they feel broke. So again, to work yourself out of that feeling, those feelings of brokenness, you gotta improve yourself. You gotta ascend. You gotta go through some level of moral, emotional, and mental development.
And you gotta try.
And you gotta, like you said, and there's nothing wrong with failing. Like, I've made mistakes. I make them all the time. I make them every day. But what gives me the power to persevere and persist and prevail and keep moving forward is the fact that I'm willing to be accountable for myself. I'll say it myself, like you said, so that someone else don't have to say it for me. I made a mistake, and here's what I'm going to do to fix it. That way, I maintain my power to fix the problem, but also too just to maintain a sense of control moving forward as I'm driving down this highway of life. So that I can avoid crashing out.
Right. Avoid crashing out.
But a lot of people, they're willing to forfeit that control, or they just looking at somebody else drive while they driving and they running into shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they feeling, oh, girl, don't you feel broke? Yeah, homie, I feel broke. But it's like, pay attention to the road ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you feeling broke does not mean you can stop paying attention and you got it. And in this case, stop trying. You know what I'm saying? So keep taking that risk. Because again, as you're driving down that highway of life, it's going to be full of risks. It's going to be some unexpected turns. It's going to be somebody that cuts you off. It's going to be some potholes that you didn't see. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be some blind corners. But that's just what life is all about.
But sometimes you have to hit a pothole to pull over to the side of the road to change your tire for someone to come along with a jack to help you change that tire, and then that same person could change your life.
Yeah, because they're going to give you some game. You know what I'm saying?
Either way, that's what I've learned is we can't live life not expecting or thinking that we're going to avoid hurdles,
adversity,
potholes, or adversity.
Right.
But understanding that adversities and challenges are strategically implemented for our benefit, for our growth, for our expansion, for our knowledge, for our knowledge, our wisdom, our experience, it all works for the better of the individual that's going through, so don't shy from challenges. Don't be scared to take a risk, because in taking that risk, you're doing what you're designed and created to do.
Exactly.
So therefore, you're actually in alignment with the universe. So therefore, as long as you're moving forward or moving, you could meet the opportunities and that the universe have for us. But if you're over in that corner, like he said, balled up, you're not going to engage into nothing. You're not going to intercept anything. You're going to continuously be over there, balled up, out the way, not even trying, and sitting there in your own mind thinking what you could have, should have, would have did.
Right.
Which is not a good place to be.
So lean into the risk. Lean into your feelings of broke to identify why you feel broke, and then once you got the list of things that you came up as to why you was broke, then take the risk of turning those negatives into positives. Literally, is but again, you can't make it happen, and you can't pull yourself out of feeling broke by not doing nothing. You got to do something. You got to take risk. You got to put that effort in. You got to move forward. And it all begins with you just acknowledging it and not forfeiting your power by blaming somebody else about it. So stop blaming, start being accountable. And, like I said, stop giving your power away. Because again, accountability is a superpower, as I've learned. It's a lot of people frown upon being accountable, or they shy away from being responsible for, let's just say, the things that they say and they do. But the more I'm leaning into it, the more I'm realizing that it's actually a superpower, because like I said, it gives you the strength to move forward. Because again, you know that it's on you. You know that you ain't got to worry about somebody else, because you ain't blaming nobody else. You put it all on your shoulders.
Right.
You giving so that means that if it's all on your shoulders, and that means you have the authority, you got the vision, you got, like you said, you got all of the cards in your favor to create the outcome that you want that you truly want for yourself.
Yeah.
But the more you trying to avoid that responsibility, avoid that accountability, avoid those risks, the less power you go have, because now you're waiting for somebody else to come in and save you.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen.
No.
So you're never going to get the outcome that you truly desire.
Yeah.
So just take the risk. And in this case, when it comes to feeling broke, you want to feel wealthy, you want to feel rich. Cool. Like, there are plenty of roadmaps, frameworks to make that happen. But just learning about it, or just thinking about it, or just wanting to feel it is not going to change your feeling of brokenness. You got to take action.
And I want to direct this not so much to the younger people. Y'all get it. Y'all in your own zone. Y'all have your vices and things that, you got your phone. You can make a lot of money. But I encourage people that are older, that are already out there, that had your children, started your families. I encourage y'all to take risk.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Now's the time.
It's either now or never.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think it's too late, but you might just be right on time.
Yes.
It might be just the right time for you to go ahead and do said goal, said vision, said dream, said aspiration. It just might be the right time. The field might be ready. The grass is fertile. The board is set up, and everything is ready for you to go ahead and just and you can't look at you starting your family and doing other things, or you went to jail, or you did a bid, or you were in a marriage, that kind of took up 15 years of your life. So what? All that is going to make whatever it is that you desire to do is going to make you that more effective and make you that more relevant. Mm-hmm. So I encourage all the people that are like grown and out there, anybody over the age 35, if there's some things and anything, even all the way up until there's no end, even you're 60, 70, 80, if there's something you want to do, trust me, go ahead and do it. Now's the time.
And lastly, another way of working yourself out of feeling broke is just taking action. You know what I'm saying? Changing it up, doing something new, getting out of your natural routine, giving your mind, giving your brain something else to think about. But giving yourself something to think about begins with you being in control of your thoughts and your imagination. So Again, it's always gonna come back to you. You're in the driver's seat of your life, nobody else. So the more that you aren't paying attention to what's in front of you, or you're distracted by what's happening to the left and to the right of you, that's why you keep having these crash out moments in your life.
Right.
Because you're not paying attention to the road ahead. You're not planning accordingly. You feel me? So realize that being broke is 100% self-inflicted. Because the person because again, if you're feeling broke because you anticipating these rewards, because you want that dopamine hit and then you're not getting them, and so now you thinking that you're broke because, like you said, you're just scrolling out through, Lil Tony was supposed to buy me that. No, you have the power. So put the dope down, get out the house, and go do something productive. I guarantee you, being productive will be a great prescription to eliminate all feelings of brokenness, because the more valuable you are and the more productive you are, obviously the more people are going to want to take advantage of the solution that you have for their problems, and the byproduct of that is going to be more money. You're no longer broke.
And if you don't know where to go, where to start, get one of your kids, one of your grandkids, tell them you want ChatGPT.
Yep.
And all you got to do is type in whatever it is your heart desires, and ChatGPT will give you a comprehensive roadmap to getting started, to taking the first steps. It will take you all the way to fruition. But if you're having troubles with getting started, which direction to go, where to get the resources, there's a lot of tools now with AI, ChatGPT, one of them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're that old, ask your grandkids, ask your children, the neighbor, the little kid next door that's always, knocking over your flower pot, stuff like that. Like, come here, what's this ChatGPT thing?
Right.
Ask them, tell them, it'll change your life.
And it's real simple to get started, bro. And a very basic hustle anybody can do is just reselling products. So we have tons of stuff around the house, tons of stuff in the garage, tons of stuff in these, storage areas that we paying rent on, or we just got at another property that we own. Go up in those spaces, take out the stuff that you ain't used in the last 10, 15 years and sell it. Because again, you got to learn how to sell. You got to learn how to make money. You got to learn, because that's, again, being productive, creating value. That's going to pull you out of that feeling broke. Because another reason why people feel broke is because, again, they don't have a clear path to making more money or earning more money. So take the time, invest in self. That's your solution to eliminating the feelings of brokenness.
That brings us to our next topic: partner or parasite. Which relationship paradigm works for you? Relationships can either fuel your growth or drain your energy. But how do you know whether you're in a healthy partnership, a codependent relationship, or a parasitic dynamic? We'll dive into red flags, self-awareness exercises, and ways to shift unhealthy relationships patterns so you can recognize which paradigm you're living in and decide what works best for you. Let's dive in.
When you get with a guy, if he cannot financially take care of all of your bills, if he cannot keep you in labels and take you on vacation, there really is no point in even being with him. And if you think like this, you're a part of my problem. That is what whores think. That is how prostitutes think. And you grown women are out here raising little bitty miniature prostitutes, talking about run them pockets, see what you can get, not thinking, how about I create myself to a financial security, create myself to a level that I can date who I want to, because money is not an issue. If you're factoring money when you're getting with somebody, you know what you are? You're not a partner, you're a parasite. You're a virus.
Yeah, so that was the whole premise of the whole topic, parasite or
partner. Parasite, yeah.
Yeah.
So as she kind of alluded to, though, whether was obviously she's specifically talking about the male-female relationship. But again, it's still applicable because these are technically, at the end of the day, as people love to say now, these are social constructs. So regardless if you're male or female, the dynamic of man and woman, the social construct, it can be identified as a male or a female. So if it's two females in a relationship, that same partner parasite dynamic can be at play.
Yeah.
If it's two guys, the same partner parasite can be in play. If it's a man and a woman, if it's others, it's the same dynamics are still at play in all relationship types. You know what I mean? So we just have to be mindful of that. And by being mindful of that, be specifically mindful of our, like you said, our own paradigm. And be able to be clear about that and be able to stand on that. So when someone asks you, you know, what's your thoughts on politics, or what's your thoughts on education, what's your thoughts on family, you have a platform to stand on. Not just, oh, well, what you think it is, and then you just trying to say what it is just to be, you know, quote unquote conforming, or just to appease this person because you want something from them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But then again, down the line, you know, so your true colors come out. Now you feeling that your time was wasted, or this other person's feeling their time was wasted, when it was just a miscommunication at the beginning due to you just not stand for something.
Right.
So stand for something. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to relationships, be clear on your paradigms. Be clear on how you view these things, because you can avoid, you know, 99% of your relationship issues by just being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And then expressing that to the person you're having this discussion with.
And you also have to be mindful of said energy that you are actually putting out there. What are you standing for? So like the girl said in the video, if you're coming from the standpoint of I want all my bills paid and I want to be catered to 100%, okay. What's reciprocated from that? Like what's on the flip side of that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all right, that's what you're going to get. Now, what are you going to give to give that? And I think that's where the disconnect comes, because, you know, we're, like she was saying, we're raising these young women, or, you know, young people, because males and females, we'll raise them to just be, you know, run them pockets,
prostitutes and tricks.
Yeah, get what you want. Like, what can you get out of it? But even a prostitute and trick know that they giving something.
You're right. You're right.
They understand what they giving. That's why I was like, all right.
They both understand what they giving and what they get.
And what they
the trick
getting.
knows that he's paying for an experience, and the prostitute knows that she's being paid to give him an experience, and it's an even exchange.
That's why.
So they give each other what they want, and then they go about their.
And that's why that's the most easiest and most peaceful union, transaction, or relationship, whatever you want to label it. That's why, you know, they said
that makes sense.
Prostitution is the oldest, you know, profession
right.
in on earth, because you have two parties that know what they want, you know, and both parties know what they got to give to get what they want.
You want to know what I learned from the autobiography of Malcolm X?
What's that?
Is that, you know, true prostitutes, they don't even really have sex. Because they understand that the product that they're really giving these men ain't necessarily the sex, it's confidence. Because in the book he talks about how when he was living in New York, how he stayed at the boarding house with the prostitutes, and he was saying that between the morning time was one of the most busiest hours, because that was the time that men was leaving their wives that was berating them and belittling them. They needed to go talk to the prostitute to get their confidence boost for the day, so that they can then go out to the world and be the man that they need to be to conquer the world.
Oh wow, I don't remember that part in the book.
Oh yeah, because again, every time I listen to that book, I learn something new or hear something different. But that was one of the things I peeped the last time I read it. But then as I thought about that, it made sense, because again, as a man, we will call it stroking his ego, but the reality is if he done spent the last 20 hours getting berated, by his wife. You can say he need a pick me up from a woman. So he's willing to go spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to just go be in the presence of a woman, this prostitute in this case, just so that she can quote unquote talk to him and, give him a little confidence boost so he can go out into the world and be the man he needs to be to conquer the day.
Wow, words are important.
So yeah, now obviously some of these dudes was having sex with these women,
of course,
but a lot of them, as according to his basic explanation, it was purely just, I just need someone to say something nice to me. I just need a woman to say something positive and nice to me. You know what I'm saying? Or I just need to lay in your lap while you just pat my head and tell me everything's gonna be okay. I'll give you $500 for that. Because again, they're doing this before they went to work in the morning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's why I'm like, this is before you even went to work in the morning. Like, they busy. Like, I thought
they call it the AM rush.
I thought it was, because I don't know. I never really gave that any thought. Like, why would the morning hours be more busier for prostitutes than the late. Well, I guess the late night hours they would have to be, in my opinion, the late night hours.
That's when the creeps is out.
But you got to be home.
Yeah,
it's hard to get away.
The men, right?
Yeah,
the working man. Yeah, and that's what he was specifically talking about, like the working man.
But the morning time, the woman is releasing you to go out the door, and then you go, and you like, okay, let me arrange my schedule so. She think I gotta be to work at 8. I don't gotta be to work till 10.
Right.
So let me go past and see.
Let me go see Miss Patty.
Yeah, let me go. Let me go see Kim.
Right.
And then get this day started off right, because last night, all she did was bicker or whatever.
Now I'm pretty sure there's a woman's version of this as well.
Because there's always a woman's version.
So
there's always a flip side to every coin.
Because again, there's
for
women
every up, there's a down. For every in, there's out.
Right. Because there's women who, again, like they're the quote unquote partner in the relationship, but they're dealing with a man or another woman or an other that is the parasite. They're doing their best. They're giving their all. They're putting their best foot forward. But both the men and the women in those positions, they now have to start realizing, or asking themselves, there has to be a time when you let go and you would just accept that this person, no matter how you feel about them, they are a parasite.
Yeah, some people are just parasites, and sometimes they do a good job of camouflaging and saying all the right things, but over time, what they say, what don't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse, baby. Like they'll show face. You hanging there long enough, hanging there long enough, and until all the people that's going through those situations is I wish you strength and and clarity,
and also too is realizing that going back to the universal paradigm of how a lot of people will think that they've made the wrong decision or they've made a mistake or they've done something bad. What I'm starting to realize is, again, it's just the journey of life. So as we're driving down the street or on the highway, there's plenty of moments specifically where I'll be like, damn, I forgot to put my indicator light on to get over. But I don't beat myself up and be, I made a mistake and now I just got to pull over and just have this emotional meltdown. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing in life. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be moments where you make mistakes, where you think that you verified something or vetted something and you didn't. And it ends up being, coming up to bite you in the ass, as they would say. But you got to just realize, like, okay, like that, it happened. Like, all right, so it ain't necessarily that you made the mistake. It's more so about what you going to do to make it right.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And understanding that whether you have a paradigm that's consists of a partnership or a parasite, you have to understand that nothing is perfect. Nothing in this world is perfect. And I think we trip ourselves up by anticipating perfection.
Yes.
As it relates to, everything. As it relates to our parents. That's why, you get people obsessed with the BBLs and all that. You get obsessed with perfection. That's how you get the male gym rats that's, in the gym 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, like
trying to get the perfect body.
We're upset perfection, but perfection is a word I would challenge that really doesn't exist.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
So
we got another video for y'all.
Let's move on.
Let's go ahead and bring that up.
They carry the same thing, but the problem with the men is, men, we give life. A woman gives birth. If I put my seed in messed up soil, what do you expect the harvest to be? So men, we got to do self-inventory to say, hold on, you fine, baby, but you're not refined. For me, you're cute, but you're not acute with the way that I look at information and process information. So then we're not going to be in alignment. Right. So when you just saying, oh, she fine, she got to walk, but you're not hearing what her talk. Yeah. You just looking at that walk. Yeah. And you get in trouble. And it happened to me. Okay. And I'm talking to me. Yeah. Right. Because I'm not casting my stone and throwing stones at anyone else. Right. I'm talking about the self-inventory that I do for me. See, most people don't want to do self-inventory. You can't call your baby mother crazy. She was who she was before you laid down with her, but you didn't have the discernment to see it because you was thinking with taste, touch, see, smell, and hear instead of intuition, discernment, and clairvoyance, which are invisible senses. They call it the third eye, but really it's your first eye. Your spiritual eye is your first eye. If you lead with your first eye, these two eyes can't be deceived. But if you lead with your two physical eyes, your spiritual eye can be deceived because the physical is an illusion.
There you have it.
Alignment, as he said. So going back to partner parasite, as you, the man or the woman or the other, or however you identify, you got to be conscious of what your paradigm is and realize that you are only going to be in alignment with people's whose paradigm is similar to yours, not from the senses perspective of what you see, what you hear, what you can smell and touch. Like you said, this the senses, the physical. It's about that third eye, that spirituality. So that's where the alignment has to be. That's the one that is going to go carry you through. And when it comes to like the long term, short term senses, you know what I'm saying? But long term, it's going to be the intangibles, specifically, again, that third eye. So again, what's your values?
Mm-hmm.
What are your views? You know, what's your vision for the future? That's what you got to get in alignment with this person. It doesn't matter if you feel sexually attracted to him or her and vice versa. Or again, you looking at this person and just saying that, oh yeah, they go fit in well in this role that I have in my life. You know what I mean? Like, it don't work like that. Like, that's not alignment. But you thinking that because, again, in the moment you experiencing that anticipation of the dopamine and getting the reward of being with this person, whether it's this man or this woman, you thinking in the fog. So now you overlooking the fact that y'all not in alignment when it comes to your purpose, or I mean your values or your views or your vision for the future. For example, you know, you a man, you know, you have that a patriarchal paradigm. You know, but you're trying to deal with a woman who wants to be treated traditionally or patriarchally traditionally, but she wants to treat you non-traditionally and behave non-traditionally because, again, women have evolved. Now you're thinking that, or we'll just say she's a feminist at the end of the day, but you're thinking that because, you know, you like her and that you love her and that you think that she loves you, that love is going to heal all things. But again, y'all not in alignment from the gate, you know what I mean? Because again, being in love and thinking that, you know, you guys feel sexually attracted to each other, that's not alignment for a long-term relationship. At least that's perfect for a short term, you know, an occasional distraction, right? But when it comes to actually a long-term relationship where, again, y'all living together, y'all got to work together, you know, y'all got to raise kids together, y'all got to do all these y'all got to do life together. You'll need somebody that you in alignment with more so in the spiritual realm as opposed to the physical realm.
Right. Just check out this next video that dives more deep into it.
Macro level frames are beliefs, accurate or not, that define our worldview. There are beliefs about God, the world we live in, the universe, family, people, politics, morality, dating and relationships. All our macro level frames add up to construct our paradigm. Learning to effectively describe our macro level frames is an important part of the dating process, especially if a woman is looking for a serious relationship. If we fail to accurately communicate who we are to the core, a woman may be reluctant to move things forward. We don't need to rush to convey our entire paradigm, but we don't want to wait too long either. Like most things in dating, many variables define how quickly we're going to get to these discussions.
All right, so yeah, I wanted to show that video just to give a more in-depth look into the framing. You know, and when we say paradigm, you know, that's kind of synonymous with the framing, the frame, the structure, you know, the guidelines, the blueprints.
You know, another way of looking at it that we always use, the umbrella. So it's like the umbrella is the paradigm, but the spokes that come from it, those are the frames.
Got you.
So same thing in this case. So when he's talking about macro level frames, so we'll use the example of glasses, for example. So again, when he was saying macro level frames, so things like politics, family, money, sex, religion, the universe, like all those represent a different frame. So you can have different frames. You know, I have, let's just say, multiple frames of glasses. Now, no matter what frame of glasses I have on, my prescription is the same on every lens, so that I can see clearly, regardless if I got the red ones on, the black ones on, the brown ones on. My prescription is the same. So no matter, even though my frames change, the lenses stay the same. So I'm always seeing clearly. Well, the same goes with our paradigms. And that's why, to your point, we have to have a conversation. We have to get on the same page first before we move forward. We just can't assume that because I got on red glasses and I got on red frames and he got on red frames, that we both see the same thing, because we both got different prescriptions. So we both got different sight. Because again, if I put on his glasses and he puts my glasses on, we're not going to be able to see clearly. And that's why people crash out and bump into each other and have these problems, because we just assume that these individuals are operating within the same context as us because we're talking about the same frame. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, there's some instances where people can share glasses, right? You know,
that's called alignment,
right? So we need to be looking for people that have the same prescription.
Alignment.
Right. No matter what the frame is, no matter what the catalyst is, no matter what the vehicle is, as long as we looking for people with the same prescription. So I could you could use my frames and I could put my glasses on your glasses and you can see. No matter what we're looking at, if we're looking at religion, if we're looking at politics, if we're looking at
the economy,
sex, economy,
right,
money,
sex, right, whatever,
household structure,
raising kids.
Right. So we have the same prescription, and we're coming from the same perspective and have the same understanding. You know, we're more aligned and more destined for success.
That's how couples reach that flow state. Because I know we've all seen those couples where it's just like they're able to finish each other's sentences. But they're able to do that because, to your point, they got the same prescription. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So again, the wife can be talking about politics and be able to say and stand on like, nah, my husband believes in this too, like because they already know that they got the same prescription, as opposed to the couple that got two different prescriptions. And then, the wife might have said something, or the husband might have said something that the other one don't necessarily believe in, and they get back to that person. Now there's problem between the person who feels offended and within the marriage, because now the husband and wife is not on the same page, because again, they're not in alignment.
Right.
They got the same frame, but the lens prescription is different, or the context is different. You know what I mean? So they can't see it. So understanding context is very important when you're dealing with human beings. You just cannot assume that the lenses, the contextual lenses in this case that you're looking through your frames on this topic about is similar to them. So yes, we can all be talking about relationships, for example, but so that's the frame, relationships, but we all got a different set of lenses on.
Different approach, yeah.
So that's why everybody got a different opinion.
And he also said something that was very, very good. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to rush the discovery phase of finding out what the other person's prescription is. It don't have to all be acknowledged or discussed in that first encounter, that first date, or the first few times you meet up, and at the same time, you don't want to wait forever.
Right.
You don't want to wait 2 years down the road, and then you're like, well, I'm a diehard Trump supporter. Like what?
After all the emotions, the bonds, now, but that's what happens with most people's relationships. That's why people feel confused. They feel disoriented, or they feel taken advantage of, or they feel lied to. But part of that was also too because they neglected to have the conversation.
Or they neglected someone, and they like, I don't want my kid to go to public school. I want my kid to be homeschooled. I want you to stay home to raise our children. She like, what? Who, me?
But again, that's a perfect example, because again, that man and that woman might be sexually attracted to each other. They might think that they look good together. They might think that, people think they look good together. But the reality of the situation is they got in alignment, because again, he wants the kids homeschooled, And she don't even know. She ain't even thought about that.
Mm-mm.
But she do know that she not trying to be no homeschool teacher.
Right. And the thought of it,
right.
Pisses her off.
And then vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, she, the woman wants the man to quote unquote help out around the house. But he like, nah, I pay all the bills. Like, I ain't doing shit around the house. Like, that's your job. I don't care if you work.
We get a maid to come in on Mondays and Wednesdays.
But you got to handle everything else. Oh, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to feel tired. I already got a job. Yeah, so, I expect you to hold down the house and the kids. And no, I'm not helping you out in that because I pay all the bills. So, again, that would be not an alignment. It wouldn't matter if again, like, oh, well, she likes that he has all this money and he likes that she, got a BBL. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As you said, the physical ain't where you need the alignment at when it comes to a long-term relationship. You need that spiritual alignment first and foremost. So lead with the spiritual eye when it comes to those long-term relationships. That third eye, not them two physical eyes. Now, you can use them two physical eyes when it comes to, again, the occasional distraction. You know what I mean? You want to, have some fun for the night, not for life. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Go find, what fancies the best eye candy you can find out there, man or woman or other. You know what I'm saying?
That's consenting.
Yeah, that's consenting. But don't think that because again you anticipating this reward of having this session with this person, and then you get the reward, and now you're coming off the dopamine high. So now it got you thinking that like, oh my god, like I feel so bad. Mm-hmm. No, you don't feel bad. You're just coming off the dopamine high. So that means you need to do something to replenish, something productive and positive, ideally. To replenish and then go about your life. But don't make the mistake of assuming that because when you have sex with this person, you feel good and that you have butterflies and they feel like the one, that they are the one. No, it's just a dopamine. Be mindful of that. Make good decisions and realize you need spiritual alignment more than you need physical alignment, specifically when it comes to them long-term relationships.
Yeah, have those conversations.
Like you said,
it's all about just having those conversations.
Make sure y'all prescriptions is in alignment,
because it's not always a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
These nuances, but it becomes critical when you don't know and don't discuss it, and it's kind of like sprung on you.
Yep.
Down the line or whatever the case may be. I'm sure a Democrat and a Republican could be in a healthy marriage. I'm sure someone who was raised patriarchally can find a woman, who's a modern day woman, and they could find some common ground where they could work together.
But to your point, they gotta have that discussion,
right?
And that's what's not happening,
right?
People not having that discussion.
Yeah,
and I like that you said that because I agree. Like, just because you might not necessarily be in alignment with someone when it comes to one of these frames that y'all discussing, that don't mean that y'all not meant for each other. Because again, in my mind, if I can reach 80% alignment with a woman, I'm good. I don't need 100%.
What they say, 60-40 rule?
80-20?
Right.
If I can get to 80% with a woman, in my mind, I'm good. I don't need 100%. But I do know that there are men and women
there's
who
no
believe,
perfection.
Right.
There's no perfection.
I do know that there are men and women who do believe that you can only do it if there is 100% alignment.
Yeah, those people usually by themselves.
I agree.
But there you have it. That's all I got on the topic.
Just be in alignment, have those discussions, and don't be afraid to take risk.
All right, that brings us to our next segment, our reaction video segment. I really like this segment. It's fun. These videos are priceless. Especially this one. So let's get into it. Take a look at this one, fans.
You think he was black? His dad was black. His dad was holding him. I don't know if that was his dad, but yeah, it
not
seemed like that
was his dad.
I
just don't think little boy was black. His dad wasn't nappy. I mean, it was patchy, but it wasn't nappy.
Yo, did you hear that? Did you hear what that woman, Just Hilarious, said?
I'm just more concerned about why that was even a question on her mind. Like, what's the point? That wasn't the moment.
She really didn't ask a question. She made a whole judgment saying that because the hair wasn't nappy, she didn't think he was black at all. She ain't asked, is he black? She said, oh no, his hair was patchy, but it wasn't nappy. I don't even think he was black. And it's just like, what in the world has happened to our people? Like, why are we like so quick to, number one, why are we scrutinizing this young man who just survived cancer? Number one,
First and foremost,
like, like, how could you take anything of that situation and make it negative? And then, furthermore, how could you fathom to say because his head, well, number one, his head was patchy because of all the surgeries, brain
right?
surgeries.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like that's most likely why his head. Because I saw a video, I guess maybe a couple of years ago, and he was standing in front of a car, and there were some young ladies trolling him.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
And he had a head full of hair, so
it wasn't full.
Oh, it wasn't.
No, it was still.
Well, it looked better than what it looked like.
Yeah, it was like from certain angles, it did look like.
From the angle I saw,
because I looked too. I looked twice.
Yeah, it looked like
I seen it, and I looked, but it was like a line
good set
right here.
But nevertheless, it's like, why is that even? Like I said, why are you questioning it? Why are you making a judgment about it? That wasn't even the moment. We focused on this young man overcoming a big, health affliction, and that was what it was all about, and him being able to pursue his dream to become some sort of law enforcement officer. I remember I saw they gave him a badge, they raised him, they held him up. You know what I mean?
His father was there. He was with his dad.
Yeah.
His dad, and they were in the Oval Office prior to it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think maybe the day before or maybe before that. The speech that evening, because he said he gave Trump a cowboy hat.
Who, the little boy?
The little boy, yeah.
DJ?
Yeah, DJ gave Trump a cowboy hat. So I look forward to see Trump wearing that hat. The little boy was like, I hope he get it, because I guess when they went through customs or whatever the case may be, he said they took it or something and whatever. I don't know. I guess anything that you have for the president has to go through extra screening.
Pricing, yeah, exactly. Some sort of screening process, most likely.
Yeah, but back to that, just hilarious. Number one, that was not hilarious. That wasn't funny. It was just despicable. That's what it was. And furthermore, you have just validated every negative stereotype that every person ever said towards black people, and as it relates to us having nappy hair and all that stuff. And for that, we just want to say thank you. Thank you, Just Hilarious. Because now anybody could relate us to having nappy hair.
And they'll use that as a reference.
Yeah, they'll use that as a reference. Well, the black woman said, if it wasn't nappy, so she didn't even think he was black. So yeah. I guess nappy hair is synonymous with being black. And if you're black, your hair is nappy. So what else I find strange is that you didn't show up to work today. And I noticed that you had Congressman Al Green in there, who's for black people, who identifies as a African American black man, or as we like to say, an American of African descent. And I noticed he had, a slick back ponytail. I wondered if you would have thought he was black. I wonder, and I question, would you have
probably not.
Right.
According to her logic.
Would you have according to her logic, like she clearly said, he ain't black. Because it wasn't nappy. His head ain't nappy. His head was slicked back with a little border. It looked like he put a little border and a rubber band on it. His hair looked longer than hers. But yeah, just my sister, just be more aware of the platform that you possess.
The influence.
And the influence that you have, and the words that come out your fucking mouth.
And the reach.
Because that was a disgrace. I don't know if you're gonna come back from that, because that was horrible.
And the fact that they did clip it out means that it is the talk of the town.
Of course. You would have never thought a black person would say that in a million fucking years. She clearly said
that might be something we might say behind closed doors.
I don't think we would say. We would never say.
I heard people say that about people's hair.
About his hair being nappy.
Well, not him specifically, but
just but I'm talking about. They said that, so they say, a person's head is not nappy, so they can't be black. I don't got fucking nappy head, so I just don't get it. I just don't.
I mean, I would make it no different than how they used to have the. I saw a clip earlier today about how they used to have the. What was that? The brown paper bag test.
Yeah.
So it would be a version of that. I would imagine. People talking about hair because. Well, the whole concept of good hair.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
what's his name? That Chris Rock.
Yeah, that was the whole basic premise of that point.
It was.
I mean, that movie was the difference between quote unquote black people black people having good hair, some people not having good hair, but the good hair not being the quote unquote nappy one.
Yeah, but we understand the difference, and you know how people have a affinity and want good hair, quote unquote.
I'm gonna just say this: the naps grow towards the sun, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? We connected to the sun. We are sun people, so it's just like, yeah, we don't want our hair to grow towards the ground because that's death right there. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we gotta just start really embracing, our power. You know what I mean? These things are superpowers, and we just, like I said, talk about them negatively.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. 'Cause she was crazy, because that whole that's the AKA thing, right? They had
the bag.
Yeah, they did the paper bag test. It's another reason why I look at that whole sorority like sideways, like, my sister's the AKA, like.
Well, shouts out to all the D9s right. Representing.
Oh yeah.
Yo, to the noobs.
Yeah, to the. But yeah, that's our reaction video. Tell us what you think. Do y'all agree with what she said? Do y'all find any logic in what she said or anything? Like, just help me understand. Am I wrong? Am I, is my opinion? Am I being too hard on her? Was it a joke? Was she?
I mean, of course they'll say it's a joke because she is a quote unquote comedian.
No,
respect to that. She was one of the originators. If I remember her back in the day, being on the little skits. So like I said, that's what they're going to fall on. That's the sword they're going to fall on. But at the end of the day, to your point, it's just like, we got to do better, man.
Did you see that video? She was not joking.
I know she wasn't joking.
Was serious as a heart attack.
I know she wasn't joking. At least I believe she was joking. But yeah, like of course, now it's just it's looking for a scapegoat. We got to play cleanup. So
we're gonna see what happens.
They go spin it how they go spin it. Yeah.
Then I found it ironic that she wasn't in the studio today when they interviewed
the congressman,
the black congressman with the ponytail and slick back ponytail and hair down back. So I want to see what she said.
We shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see.
And as they said on the Congress floor, as they sung in harmony, we shall overcome. We shall. This is just crazy, man.
They sung that?
Yes.
Oh man. Well,
because once he got reprimanded, he had to come back in front of Congress, and they had to give him some type of judgment or validate if they was going to strip him of any duties or whatever the case may be.
Oh, so this is all recent.
This was
because you talking about that latest speech they had, like kind of like one of them State of the Union type of
joints.
Yeah,
it was the joint Congress address.
Okay.
And he on his interview today with the Breakfast Club, he said he didn't come there to say that. He came there to walk out, which just don't show up. But
that's politics, I guess.
That's politics. He said he came to show up, but when he heard Trump say what he said, he just felt like he had this impulse to stand up and say something. And so everyone is saying, well, they didn't do that when somebody yelled at Biden and when somebody yelled at Barack Obama, these measures wasn't taken. But I beg to differ to the people that say that. When these other people stood up and the Speaker of the House said order and be quiet and sit down, they sat down, right?
Well, I didn't see it, but okay.
But he kept going. He didn't stop. They had to tell him like 2 to 3 times. Like, stop, you're out of order.
What do they say in court? Hostile, we want to... the witness is hostile, right? Is hostile or whatever.
So they had to call the court arms or whoever they call them,
sergeant of arms,
the sergeant of arms, to come and escort him out. And he had kind words to say about the sergeant of arms, saying that they didn't disrespect him. They spoke kindly, like, "Come on, bro, you know how this goes. You got to go. Come on, come on.
The order has been given.
You know what's going on." But you know, the point I'm challenging, they trying to make it seem like he's being treated unfair. But what I see the difference is those other people lashed out, they was reprimanded, and then they shut up.
Got you.
He lashed out again, raised his cane, lashed out, and you know, and so then they was like about the third time they was like, okay, boom, I'm gonna have to call the sergeant at arms and get you out of here. So the fact that they had to call the sergeant at arms, I guess once that's implemented, you have to go through a whole another process where they had to bring him back, you know, cite his charges. I'm just using other terms, but you know, cite his charges, you know, see if he guilty of, you know, they had to do another vote.
Right.
And so yeah, and I think they found him in violation of whatever the code is. So
Yeah. Okay.
and then so that's when they took, because they was before they read the judgment or the count, they said, Congressman Al Green, please step up to the well. So he came up. So now all the Democrats want to stand around him, because before, when he stood up and got when he did what he did, when he got in trouble, ain't nobody support him. He was the only one. He was out there like an island.
He was the only one standing
The only
tall.
one standing, you know, bucking against whatever he felt.
Got you.
So now when they're doing the sentencing or whatever the case may be, giving him the corrective action or whatever was going to be the disciplinary role, they all stand around. Maxine Waters is up there, that other bald head woman that's in Congress.
Yeah, I've seen her.
They
I've seen
get
her.
up there.
That's who that is. Okay.
And once they, you know, give him the verdict or whatever the ruling is, they start singing "We Shall Overcome."
The old Negro spiritual.
The old Negro spiritual.
That's
Once again. And they got to go on. We shall overcome. So hopefully we will overcome. Hopefully y'all will overcome, because y'all are digging a deeper and deeper hole. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this, bro.
Hey man, we shall see.
We shall see and overcome. All right, that's a wrap on another episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. Today we explored the science of anticipation and dopamine, how sometimes the build-up is more powerful than the reward itself. We unpacked why so many Americans feel financially strapped, looking at how language and mindset shape our money habits. And we held up the mirror to relationships. Are you growing together or being drained? Knowing the difference between a partner and a parasite could change your entire approach to love and connection. So there we had. Keep tapping in, keep liking, subscribing, and always keep commenting. And let's keep those ripples rippling out into the universe. Until the next time, I'm Quattro.
I'm Diesel.
Stay up.